right, Royals, so come on in. This is the second dose of your daily vitamin. So let's get into it because this is breaking news and it is also nefarious. Now, a bishop has been indicted for burning down his own church. The church actually was burned down in 2021. So let's talk about it. So in March of 2021, and exactly March the 13th, Greater New Hope Community Church was burned down. And it's a church in Louisville, Kentucky on East Jacob Street. So, they were doing their investigations and then come to find out, well, it was the bishop himself. So here's what they say. Now, this just came out hours ago. The Jefferson County grand jury has returned an indictment against the Louisville bishop after charges allege that he set a church on fire in 2021. Jonathan Mullins is charged with one count of arson in connection to the Greater New Hope Community Church fire that broke out on March 13th of 2021. If convicted, Mullins could face up to 20 to 50 years or even life in prison. Now, the historic building was noted as the first synagogue in Kentucky, the Knesset Israel Synagogue. A firefighter was injured while responding to the fire, and the church suffered severe damage. Now, during an investigation conducted by the Louisville Metro Arson Bureau and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, also known as the ATF, Mullins told investigators that he was the bishop at that church. Now, investigators said that he is the one alleged to have started the fire based on the evidence collected during their investigation. This is all so crazy and clearly nefarious. Okay? Oh, so crazy. But here's the thing that I also find interesting. I want you to pay attention because, when I first read this story, I said, now, who is this bishop of which they speak? And what does he look like so I can be sure that when I talk about this nefarious crime of his, that I can put his mugshot up on the screen? Well, I looked, and then finally I saw one picture, but my spirit told me, this isn't the person that they're talking about. This is just some person who looks like me of my skin tone that they put on the cover of this story. And it just happened to be so. It's a good thing I do my thorough research. But let me show you what I'm talking about. Because I find this all so nefarious at the end of the day. I find this all so nefarious because here's the thing. I'm going to go to exactly what I Googled so you all can see what I was looking at when I was trying to find out who burned down this church. Okay, please pay attention. Now, I typed in the name of the bishop, former bishop now, of course, but the name of the person accused, who was Jonathan Mullins. And so this is what comes up. And be sure to get the likes up, please. Like and share. Thank you for your kind cooperation. So now this is what comes up when you actually Google the name and the crime that occurred. And this is what you see. Now, and it says 3 hours ago. If you can see right here, it shows a man of my own skin tone. It says 3 hours ago. And underneath that, it says convicted of 2021 fire, church fire. And then when you click on the story, it tells you the story that I just read to you. But like I said, something in my spirit told me that that's not the man. That's not the face. And I've told you all a myriad of times before how I'll be looking for stories. And then when I go to do the research to try to find out who committed the crime, because there's no picture involved, when I finally do find a picture, it'll be someone who looks like me, who had absolutely nothing to do with the crime. Now, I'm not saying the person who committed this crime doesn't look like me in the first place, but I have a whole lot of questions because if they look like me, why would they have a picture of someone else who looks like me as the cover story? I just have questions. Okay, but here's the thing. So I looked up that picture to see where it would lead me to, and here is what I found. This is all so crazy. Now, there is the same man again. And it says December of 2021. Now, mind you, the fire at the church was March 13th of 2021. But when you delve just a little bit deeper, just by a few clicks of your fingers, this is what this man was accused of. Man pleads guilty to charges from fatal car crash in December of 2021. And I said, well, I know this likely wouldn't be the same bishop, right? Because my spirit was already telling me, like I said. So when I go down to read the story to find out who this man's name is, his name is Rasan Mosley. Okay, Rasan Mosley. So absolutely, now I'm not saying Rasan Mosley is nefarious. I mean, he did plead guilty to charges from a fatal car crash, but nonetheless, what he didn't do is burn down that church. So why do they have his picture there? Where's the picture of the real culprit? And mind you, this is a synagogue and one of the oldest historic buildings, they say, in this area, which is East Jacobs. So I find it all suspicious. Okay, once again, using someone who looks like me to paint a narrative, and while hiding the real criminal who committed the act. This is all crazy, but nonetheless, the fact that a bishop would set a church on fire, the fact that he would burn down his own church for reasons unknown, because they don't give much details on the story either. It's just a few paragraphs, and then just a brief news clip about 30 to 40 seconds. And so I find it all very interesting. And so, if I didn't know people who actually live in Louisville, Kentucky, well, I wouldn't even have heard of this story, and neither would you. And I just want to talk about how they paint narratives. That's why I really want to bring it up, because a lot of things are coming to surface, and there's a lot of pastors getting involved in wicked things that you would not expect for pastors and bishops to be doing, but yet here they are, and here we are. But more specifically, there are things being covered up that are slowly but surely coming to the surface. So he did this in 2021. And there isn't much information on what happened then when he was when the fire initially started either. And so during their investigation, they came to this conclusion that it was in fact him. And so facing life in prison. Now, the fact that he's facing 20 to 50 years or even life in prison makes me think that it may actually be someone who looks like me. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you can never tell. But for some reason, they have these false pictures on different stories. And the people on those false stories or with the fake pictures, they always seem to look like me for some reason. You all don't find that strange? Because I clearly do. Okay? Please pay attention. Anyway, drop me a line to let me see, or drop me a comment to let me see what you. And like I've been saying, there's a whole lot of these pastors just doing all kinds of crazy nefarious things. Because listen to this. Now, this, I guess, is breaking news also, because this just came out a few hours ago. Hungarian pastors arrest matter of fraud suspect or religious freedom, they ask. Now, Pastor Istvan Onati might not have slept so well if he had known that his house would be turned upside down at daybreak. That morning in February, he was arrested for fraud. The Hungarian pastor has been detained on suspicion of fraud against the state budget. Mr. Onati is a pastor of the Independent Methodist. I can't even pronounce this because clearly it's written in Turkish, but nonetheless, it says known intentionally as the Hungarian Evangelical Fellowship. Oh, so crazy. So anyway, and did I say it was written in Turkey? I meant Turkish. But let me continue. So it goes on to say that the pastor was arrested at his home in Budapest early in the morning on Tuesday, February the 20th, by officers of Hungary's National Tax and Customs Authority, according to the Hungarian media reports. Now, the authorities claim that Mr. Onati committed fraud as HEF's chief finance officer through inaccurate reporting to the tax authority. So, in other words, likely stealing money. Okay? But don't stop there. And here's a picture of him. I'm pretty sure we can all figure out what he looks like, but nonetheless, these pastors are out here getting their grift on. They have to do what they have to do, according to them. This is all crazy. That's him right there. Look at him with his Bible open. At the same time, sliding a little money to the side. Committing whole acts of fraud. But I digress. But, at the end of the day, we didn't forget about Bishop Whitehead. Yeah, we didn't forget about him. He's one of the best of them to ever do it, wouldn't you say? But hold on, because there's more. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. And so then, just about a month ago, there was a Connecticut pastor accused of meth for voyeurism exchange, according to police. See, I told you, it's real crazy. You can't make this stuff up. So a Connecticut pastor was arrested after police said he was selling meth from his house and even at the church. All crazy. See, this is why I'm going to church. I just praise the Most High at home, okay? That's what I do. Go to church for what? I mean, you have pastors burning it down, and then you have them selling meth at the church, and then you have some of them, like Bishop Whitehead, choking people out in the congregation when they say things or do things he doesn't like. This is all crazy and very, very much so nefarious, okay? But anyway, let me continue. So it goes on to say that Connecticut State Police arrested Herbert Ivy Miller, age 63, on February the 9th, after police noticed that he was operating his vehicle with suspended registration and failed to maintain the insurance requirements. Now, during the police investigation, Miller was in possession of crystal meth in both rock form and liquefied into a hypodermic needle prepared for injection. This is all crazy. Now, Miller was then charged with operating an unregistered vehicle, operating a vehicle without the minimum insurance, use of drug paraphernalia, possession with intent to sell or dispense narcotics, and possession of a controlled substance, according to the police report. Now, he was released on a $10,000 bond. Miller was the pastor of the First United Methodist Church. It should have been the First United Meth Church, okay, from the sounds of this story, in Shelton, 48 miles southwest of Hartford, before becoming the pastor of Woodbury United Methodist Church in July of 2023, according to reports. Now, the Woodbury Police Department received a tip that Miller was allegedly dealing drugs from his house right next to the church. Miller's neighbors saw a lot of traffic at the home and saw someone bring a meth pipe on the road near the church. Police told WFSB that investigators believe Miller was providing the meth in exchange. He wanted people to see couples have sex. This Miller, Pastor Miller, sounds like he might be friends with Diddy. But let me continue. So Miller's court date is on February the 23rd, or was on February 23rd at Waterbury Superior Court. Oh, so crazy. Oh, so crazy. Let me see if I can look him up real quick. Let me see if I can find his. And there's the culprit right there. Okay. There he is right there. A 63-year-old pastor selling meth out of the church and his home, which was right next to the church. This is what they're doing with the congregation's money these days. Yeah, it's really pretty sad. Okay. It is really pretty sad, if you ask me. I mean, absolutely deplorable, in fact. But hey, what do I know? But let me continue. So, as I said, real crazy. But then there was a former Olive Branch pastor who was charged with sex crimes. And this was just 4 days ago. Okay? Just 4 days ago. Now let's talk about that too, while we're at it, while we're going in on this nefarious pastor. And there's the culprit right there. Okay? He looks like he did it. Now, who's he pastoring? I have a whole lot of questions. All right? But anyway, let's talk about it, because he's just been sentenced. Former Olive Branch pastor sentenced to 18 years in prison. Okay? This is out of DeSoto County, Mississippi. A Mississippi pastor was accused of, how do I want to say this? Well, doing inappropriate things with several underage boys. And he pled guilty to the charges. Okay? Daniel Harris was sentenced to 18 years in prison, according to the DeSoto County District Attorney's Office. He tutored teenagers and committed several sex crimes on them dating back to 2015. Now, Harris was denied the possibility of parole and early release. Well, good, because he doesn't deserve it. He will have to register as an sex offender for the rest of his life and can no longer serve as an educator. Yeah, this is all pretty sad. Okay, this whole world seems to be going to hell in a handbasket. That's all I'm saying. Okay, please be careful of what goes on in the church that you're going to. All right? I mean, you have to vet these pastors these days. And even then, you still never know what one could be up to. It's just all very sad as far as I'm concerned. Okay? At the end of the day, Most High, please come down here and scoop these people up. Anyway, please drop me a comment to let me know what you think about all of this, and enjoy the rest of this evening. I will talk to you all again soon.